Today we're going to talk about slope-intercept form, writing equations from a graph. Now you'll notice that this is the same guided worksheet that we used in class. I'm going to use slightly different examples because I don't have the PowerPoint that was used in class to give me those straight up examples. So those of you that took examples in class will have the ones that were used in class. Those of you that were unable to use the examples in class or didn't take notes or were absent, these will be different examples, but the concept is the same. So, problem number one, example one, we have an m value of -2, we have a b value of 5. We're writing our equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And so we're going to take our values for m and plug them in, and our value for b and plug it in. Y equals, my m value we just said was -2, so -2x plus my b value is 5. And that's our solution. Example number 2, I'm going to give you an m value of 0 and a b value of 13. So again, we're going to use the equation slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where we plug in what we know. Y is equal to, my value of m is 0, x plus my value of b is 13. 0 times x is the same as 0, and 0 plus anything is whatever that value is. So we can simplify this entire expression to say y is equal to 13. Example number 3. We're given an m of 4/3 and we're given a b of -2. So again, we're going to use our y equals mx plus b equation, where we substitute in what we know. We know that m is 4/3. X plus my value of b is -2. Now, this is one format that you'll see this in. Another common format is y equals 4/3 x minus 2. I already discussed in class that I will take either solution because both are simplified solutions. One is simply adding its inverse. Number 4, this time we're going to have an m value of 3 and a b value of 0. And so we'll notice that y equals mx plus b. Y is equal to my m value is 3, x plus 0. Now, again, if I add 0 to anything, we're left with whatever we started with, so y equals 3x is our simplified solution. Now we got into the meat of what we studied today, and that was looking at graphs and being able to write an equation. Now, with any given graph, we want to identify a couple of key pieces. We want to know the slope, and we want to know the y-intercept. I generally like to start with the y-intercept because we're looking for the value where our line crosses the y-axis. And so that's going to be this term right here. And the value where it crosses the y-axis is always going to have an x value of 0. So we're really only interested in the y value here, which is +1. Well, now we'll look at the slope, and we discussed in class also that slope is always going to be read left to right. We look at this graph and we describe the line as a positive slope because we look at it from its leftmost point to its rightmost point and realize that it's going up. That's positive. So we're going to do the same when we're identifying the actual slope of the line. We're going to apply our rise over run rule using a point that is further to the left and rising until we're parallel with our point to the right of that, and running until we get there. So we have risen 3, and we have run 1. My slope is rise of 3 over a run of 1, which is equal to 3. Just as the problems above used our slope formula, a slope-intercept formula, slope-intercept form, we are going to continue to use slope-intercept form. Y equals my slope of 3x plus my b value, which is my y-intercept, 1. And so we end up with the equation y equals 3x plus 1. We'll do one more, and then I will leave you to work on these on your own. Let's go from there to there. Ooh, that's not good. I need something that goes through a clear intercept because we're not ready for decimal intercepts. That looks a little better. All right, this particular equation, again, we want to find our y-intercept. I'm going to look for where it intersects the y-axis. That intersects right there at 2. And now we need to find the slope. So we're looking for places where it intersects with perfect grid lines. So we already know it intersects there with a perfect grid line. I see here seems to be my next obvious spot where it intersects with the perfect grid line. And so we're going to apply our rise over run. Again, we're working left to right. So from this ordered pair, I moved down, and that was down 1, 2, 3 units. So my slope is -3, which accounts for my rise. We're not increasing, but rather we're decreasing, so I have a rise of -3. And we run 2. So again, we can write the equation of a line. Y equals, my m value will be -3 over 2x plus my y-intercept value 2. Now, one nice thing about this is we can look real quickly at the graphs and we can realize my top graph had positive slope, reading from left to right, it went up. My bottom graph had negative slope, reading from left to right, it went down. The other nice thing that's beneficial for us to look at is since we're reading left to right, we'll notice the only thing that changes a positive or a negative value is whether or not we're moving up to get to my next ordered pair or down to get to my next ordered pair. At no point will we ever have a negative denominator because whether we're moving up to get to our next ordered pair or down to go up to our next ordered pair, we will always be running forward. And so our run will always be a positive value. That will definitely simplify your understanding of slope and make it easier for you to not make mistakes. Have a good evening.